Hey there, it's Sam Smith, realtor with JP and Associates Realtors. It's May 14th, 2020, and this is a Thursday, so I'm bringing to you a small business owner based in Georgetown, Texas. And my guest today is Janet Cesarini. She's the owner of Popology. It's a pet boutique, I would say, and she's going to tell us about her business, whether she was considered an essential business during the quarantine, and a little bit about how she got started. So, welcome, Janet.
Hi, Samantha.
I'm glad you
Hey,
could.
be watching.
Well, I'm really glad that you were able to join me today. I met a couple of years ago, and it was just a random meeting, and you had a pop-up shop at an event. And I didn't have a dog at that time, but my mom had 4 dogs and I had a cat. So we just started talking about pet stuff, and I knew that my mother would appreciate your store, and the things that you offered. So but yeah, we just started talking. Yeah. And anyhow, it's been a real pleasure to know you. I would love it if you would tell us a little bit about Pupology. Like, what, how long have you been in business? Kind of how did you come to have your brick and mortar business, and, what was that path like?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. First of all, I'm tickled. And this is my first live interview to ever do. Uh,
Yay!
so I'm going into my teacher mode and pretending that remember when you used to teach school and you used to do awards banquets as a, assistant principal? That's where I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, good.
hi everybody who's watching. Hi mom. Hi
Yeah.
Kelsey and Jennifer. Um, the genesis of Popology, it's actually really it's a lifelong journey.
Okay.
It's not a real quick and easy answer. When I was a little girl, we had all kinds of pets.
Mhm.
They've always been in my life in some form or fashion, um, especially dogs and cats.
Mhm.
We've had more than our fair share. And then when I was a little girl, you dream about what you want to be when you grow up. And for
Mhm.
me, which now that I'm about to be 54, now I look back and I see my journey, and it's so me because when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, I
Mhm.
wanted to be a banker, thought about being a pediatrician, and I wanted to own a store. So those
Wow.
are things I remember as a little girl
Wow.
dreaming about. And
Mhm.
so when I went to college, I became a teacher,
Mhm.
and I did that for 15 years
Mhm.
in my hometown in Lake Jackson, Texas, until we moved to the Austin area in the late 90s,
Mhm.
very late 90s, like 99, 2000. And I taught. I had been an assistant principal there for a couple of years, and when we moved here for work, I went back to the classroom for one more year,
Okay.
and resigned at the end of that year.
Mhm.
And I embarked upon the next 15 years of my career, which were in corporate America. And I worked for a credit union.
Okay.
There's the bank. And
Uh-huh.
then the other time I worked for land developer and home builders.
Mhm.
Uh, and it was interesting because I used my education
Mhm.
um, as a background, kind of a springboard to go into the sales and marketing aspect of,
Okay.
home building and whatnot. And I
Mhm.
was helping people with their dream of buying,
Right.
a house. So, and then just fast forwarding, we got pets during that time. We have 5 dogs currently.
Mhm.
They range from 15 pounds to 75 pounds. So we have the little food girl that needs to go for grooming, and then we have the big shepherd, herding dogs, and then we have a
Uh-huh.
little dachshund. If anybody was at our dachshund wedding in February, you met
Yeah.
Eli.
Mhm.
So at the end of my corporate career, I actually was turning 50, and I
Mhm.
just said, I have this nagging desire and dream to have my own business. And during the time when I had these 4 dogs, and then we got the fifth one 3 years ago, my
Mhm.
first year into Popology. Um, I realized that my business um, I wanted it to be a dog shop or
Yeah.
a dog centric shop.
Mhm.
And so, I mentioned four things: teacher, and
Yeah.
then I mentioned the business, the banking, and then pediatrician.
Right.
And I realized very recently, since you asked me to do the interview, I realized that I'm obviously not a pediatrician, but what I do in the shop, what we do in the
Mhm.
shop, is very much in line with caring for small creatures.
Well, I was gonna say the thing is, yeah, and pedi pediatricians
Pediatrician,
do
yeah,
those are creatures after
yeah,
all. Um, no, that is one of the things that, I think that draws me to you in particular because you are a researcher. I love to research. I mean, anything that I have a question about,
yeah.
I'm just waiting for Janet to join us. I think it's kinda hard to tell what the status is here, but my internet stopped working, and I don't know if it's a sudden link thing or it's my computer because this happened yesterday during my interview as well. So, Janet is just getting back on, and, let's see. Are you there?
That's okay.
Yeah, I think, you know,
Intermission. Everybody grab pop.
intermission. We just didn't have any music.
I know my friend Kim, my childhood friend Kim Richardson. I bet she went and got popcorn and Coke.
Did she? Well, I see. Are you able to see the comments on your side?
I can't.
No? Okay. Well, she was on, Kimberly Smith Richardson, right there, and she told us it was frozen, so
Okay.
thanks, Kim, and I hope you got a good snack too. Well, everybody, I'm sorry that this happened, but anyhow, we were talking about, how much you research everything, and you are such a treasure trove of information for real. Like when it comes to, especially anything with dogs, but I know you know a lot about um, the more fickle pets in the world.
Kitties.
Yes, that would be kitties.
Yeah.
Um, but that is one of the things that I've really appreciated.
Thank
That's
you.
one thing. And then I know that if I walk in the store, you also have never met a stranger, I'm pretty sure, because it is so easy to spend. I may think I'm going to go in just for a few minutes to get something. That's
Oh,
not really what happens. No, no.
it doesn't.
Mhm.
I know that that trips me up too, but it's who I am. It's who I try to hire as
Mhm.
well. And I think like attracts like.
Mhm.
And, part of my mission and the vision for Popology when it did go from a pop up shop to brick and mortar last
Mhm.
year, it was to create a community and a family of like minded, pet owners. And,
Mhm.
and I don't want to say like minded to say that I'm excluding anyone,
Right.
because I
Mhm.
think that, I mean, myself, I have learned so much just having, so Hank and Charlie were our Australian Shepherd litter mates that we got in
Mhm.
2012 when
Okay.
my husband and I got married, and a
Mhm.
week later we had twins.
Yay!
So
Congratulations.
thank you. We went and got Hank and Charlie, and we've that it was them that I credit to helping me to really discover that business. What business was I going to have? I always thought I was going to have a different kind of business,
Mhm.
and then I realized that these little creatures
Mhm.
depend on us for quality of life and for longevity, and
Mhm.
that every single thing that we do with them, from training to hydration to flea and tick treatment, um, to protecting them against mosquitoes, and feeding them,
Mhm.
exercising them, it has such a bearing on their quality of life and
Mhm.
longevity. So,
Mhm.
and they are not unlike us.
Right. Mhm.
that is such a revelation that I came to,
Mhm.
and that I see people every day. You know, I see the light bulb goes off, and I was in the position where I didn't know what I didn't know. But
Mhm.
then when the dogs started getting older and they started having issues with
Mhm.
allergies and digestion and shedding and breath, oh, dragon breath.
Yeah, yeah.
And I started researching, like you said, and I thought, wow, I can really have a positive effect on
Mhm.
all of that by the
Mhm.
choices that I make.
Mhm.
And so I lean on my teaching, on my research. I read and study every single day, and
Mhm.
I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, I
I
believe it.
I love this. This
Mhm.
is it's just what I live for. I get
Yeah.
excited to
Mhm.
talk about, and
Yeah.
it's hard to get me to stop talking about it. I am very passionate about caring for pets, and
Mhm.
if I don't know something, I've always been this way as a leader, as a teacher, as a
Mhm.
friend. I will say I don't know, but you know what? I will find out.
Mhm.
What I can, and you're a
Yeah.
lot like that as
Yeah.
well.
I
Yeah,
Yeah, to a fault, and I think that's where we where we kinda connect also, like, once I
yes,
started hearing you talking about diet and,
yeah,
different things like that, and the health of even the toys and the
yeah,
materials that things are made of.
yeah,
Because I've always been kind of a health nut just for people, and, for myself. And really, I have done, that's where my research has been. So when you started talking to me about the different things, with the health of the gut and the different things that affects, I'm like, yes, that's what I've been saying for so long. I'm like, so many people have health issues that they
yes,
won't change their own diet
yeah,
and eliminate some things. But,
yeah,
you know, when it's because it's hard to do that. We just, that's what we do. We crave pleasure,
yeah,
and food is a big part of that. But, with your dogs, with your pets, you can control that, a lot better. They're not going to, I mean, they may decide to go on a hunger strike, but that doesn't ever last very long.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I think that is great. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things like what I was just touching on, like the materials that the toys or different
Mhm.
things might be made of? What's your opinion on that?
Well, and that's a great question. And I don't know if you realize this, but there was an incident with Hank, our red tri Aussie,
Okay.
and a toy that I bought at a big box store.
Hmm.
I didn't know about independent pet retailers, which
Right.
considered an independent pet retailer,
Hmm.
meaning I'm not corporate, I'm not a chain,
Hmm.
small or large. I'm not a chain. I'm a
Hmm.
sole proprietor. Um, and yes, to go back to your earlier question, we are considered essential because we feed pets and pets have to have
Yeah.
food.
Hmm.
So we
That's
have
what
been
I
open during the coronavirus,
thought.
but
Okay.
that's been it's been quite a road to
Hmm.
travel
Hmm.
and day by day. But to go back to the toy, so we bought a plastic-ish toy for Hank when he was a pup, and I gave it to him. It was one of those that looked like a kind of a parody or a play on a beer bottle.
Okay. Hmm.
You've probably seen them,
Yeah, I was just
yeah,
thinking about that.
because they're still around. So,
Yes.
which floors me. I have very strong opinions for those of you that don't know me. Good about vocalizing them too. I
Yeah.
will apologize up front, but I gave him this toy and I walked out of the living room and I walked back in and I saw that he had already ripped off the bottle cap or the
Mm,
top of it.
mm,
And I couldn't find it, so I knew he swallowed it. And it wasn't until then that I went, oh my God, what did he just swallow?
mhm.
I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about the material that it was made of because I trusted that retailer. If they had it on the wall for sale
Mhm,
for me to
mhm.
give to my pet, then it was safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys, I am here to tell you that that is a load of malarkey.
Mhm. Yep.
It's no, and especially where they come from, there are less restrictions there than there are here. So, I
So,
check. Mhm.
Well, I was going to say, ask, you know how we went through this whole thing with baby bottles and phthalates and all these different chemicals
Yeah,
that end up in plastic. Are
yes,
are there the same restrictions on pet toys? Probably
there are.
not. Mm, yeah.
So BPA's,
Mhm.
phthalates, like you say,
Mhm.
there are not. And so even the paint, there are restrictions, but how do we know, how are they regulated where they're made?
Mhm. Yeah.
So the next thing I noticed is that he had red paint and all over his paws, all over his teeth and his gums.
Wow.
And of course, I didn't have children of my own. I had my students. I
Mhm.
knew if I had children that my students wouldn't get 100% of me and vice versa.
Yeah.
And my students were always my kids,
Mhm.
and my dogs are my children. Ask
Mhm.
anybody that knows me.
Yep.
And so I felt horrible guilt, mom
Yeah.
guilt, helicopter
Mhm.
mom. I
Yep.
tried to clean up his gums and his teeth as best as I could. I threw away the toy and I was mad and I
Yeah.
was sad. And so that was what spurred me on to start researching.
Mhm.
And then the next thing, and back to the BPA and the phthalates. So the toys that I carry, your question, are 100% rubber.
Okay.
They're certified BPA and phthalate free. They're made
Mhm.
in the USA.
Mhm.
They even have a guarantee. So
Mhm.
I went and bought probably the most popular toy on the market that has four letters and rhymes with ping pong. And because these
Hmm.
two, wonder, yeah. So we had these two dogs that were chewing up furniture and
Mhm.
shoes, and so I bought two.
Mhm.
So once bitten, twice shy. Well, it took me two times to learn. Um, Bought two $15 toys, brought them home,
Mhm.
bit them, popped them.
Oh gosh.
So that, yeah, $30 down the
Just
drain,
like that. Yeah. Mhm.
just like that. And so I was like, that doesn't work. So I got real creative with toys. And
Mhm.
I give away this, information in my store.
Yeah.
I'm That's another thing about our community in the store, is that if I have little secrets that I know work that will save you some money, then I pass that along to you. I mean,
Mhm.
could I sell you product X, Y, and Z?
Mhm.
um yes, if that's who I was.
Mhm.
But if it's in my store, I believe in it 100%.
Right.
I've tested it. I
Mhm.
have testimonials from myself or from my community.
Mhm.
um, and so I can be confident when you walk out the door that, if you do everything the way that you should be doing with that product, you're going to get the results.
Mhm.
Uh, so, this, I don't carry the one particular toy because
Mhm.
I found my Westpaw and my Planet
Okay.
Dog, my
Okay.
USA products
Mhm.
that they've not been able to destroy. My friends with German Shepherds, my
Mm.
friends with pit bulls. I have some of the very first people that left me Facebook recommendations were moms of labs and pit
Mhm.
bulls.
Yeah.
And
Really. Mhm.
because they had toys that they could not, or that they would destroy.
Yeah.
So these are guaranteed toys. They will do a one-time replacement on the
Okay.
toy.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's a good thing. Yeah, we have a pit bull, and my one of my sons has a pit bull, and she's the best dog ever, number
yeah,
1, but number 2, she destroys
yeah, yeah,
every toy. So,
yeah,
actually, I don't know if they've been in the store to, pick up a toy from there, but
yeah.
I'm gonna have to do that next time I come
Well,
in.
and we also will ask about your dog and say,
Mhm,
tell about the play habits or the breed, because
mhm,
there are certain breeds that have
mhm,
stronger jaws, bigger, the bigger breeds versus the smaller breeds. Or,
mhm,
we are taught to give you guys instruction on, I think that this, and this would be a better option for you. You're going to have more success with it. The dog's going to be entertained.
mhm.
Um, you're going to be happy. The dog's going to be happy. We're all going to be happy,
Yeah,
you know. So that's a big key about what we do in the shop.
yeah,
Education, not
yeah.
just food, toys too.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Well, and some of the food though that you
Yep.
carry, it's actually some of it's produced in Austin or
Yep.
like Austin-based businesses,
Yes.
and the majority of pretty much everything else is somewhere else in the United States or all of it. Okay. Which is, you know, when you don't know where everything's coming from all the time. And
No.
so that's, I mean, I'm always, I love it that you, as a small business, a local business owner, you're supporting local business owners and small family businesses.
Yeah.
Um, that's the way I mean, we found out in the past 2 months that
Yes.
that's so important because I think, anyone who owns a business right now of any type is feeling it, especially when you have a smaller business. So talk about a couple of the companies that are in the Austin area that you support.
So Nulo
Okay.
is one of our latest foods that we finally brought on. I wanted to bring them on in the beginning, but had a
Mhm.
budget, had a real small
Right.
budget, and
Hmm.
so you've watched me grow.
Yeah.
But really excited to bring in Nulo.
Hmm.
Michael Landis is the founder of the
Hmm.
company. He used to be a veterinarian,
Okay.
and he, many, like myself, and like
Hmm.
so many people that I know, got really sad and tired about seeing pets getting sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, he developed a low carb,
Hmm.
dry food. And, you'll get people, we have great discussions about raw feeding, which we
Hmm.
have a lot of raw feeders.
Hmm.
We have 2 freezers full of raw and gently cooked food.
Okay.
Um, Bone broth, raw goat's milk,
Hmm.
marrow bones,
Hmm.
and we have 2 freezers that we're adding in the next 2 weeks, bringing in
Wow.
prime. Um, and we currently sell Steve's and a small batch pet, and then another Austin-based company, Bones and Co. And
Okay.
so Nulo and Bones and Co. are the pet food manufacturers that we have from the Austin area that are in the store.
Hmm.
But back to Nulo, you know, I don't know the exact statistic, but it's mid 90s, 95%, let's say, feed dry food.
Hmm.
And it's convenient.
Hmm.
Um, it's, but they run the gamut from horrible to good.
Yeah.
I'll just say,
Hmm.
and we look at sourcing, we look at manufacturing processes,
Hmm.
and in the case of Nulo, what he created was a low glycemic
Hmm.
dry food.
Hmm.
So why is that important?
Hmm.
Because when you eat carbs, as you know,
Yeah.
what it does to us is what it does to dogs. And so
Hmm.
as you have the body's response to eating carbs or starches,
Hmm.
uh, it creates inflammation in the body. It creates leaky gut, which
Hmm.
makes the dogs and the cats and us break down sooner than we should.
Yeah.
Um, so causes disease. And
Yeah.
so, I and my team, we're trying to reverse that disease naturally by
Hmm.
talking about gut health and
Hmm.
how we can repair the gut. One of the integrative holistic veterinarians that I follow, Dr. Karen Becker, I was watching an interview with her one day, and she was talking about repairing leaky gut and how you've got to do that in conjunction with better food
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help the
Yeah.
inflammation and disease,
Yeah.
fix itself, the body fix itself. And she
Mhm.
said it could take anywhere, from 18 to 24 months.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I've seen the improvements with my dogs. They've been on um, Origins,
Okay.
Road Pet Science. That's a Texas-based product.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Very good.
and, 2 Texas boys.
Yeah. Yes.
Proud of them. They've created what I call kombucha for dogs. You know,
Oh, interesting.
that's how I describe it, because
Mhm.
kombucha helps us fix our gut,
Mhm.
and the Rogue is kombucha for dogs. So
Yeah.
we talk
Huh.
to people about that product every day. It's
Mhm.
our number one selling product in the store for
Mhm.
good reason.
Mhm.
You guys know that personally, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Shayna,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Shayna's
Yeah.
seen improvements with her, German Shepherd, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, he still has allergies on his paws. He chews his little feet or his big
Contact.
feet up. But yeah, he's he's doing so much better now that he's got that Origins. I don't know what else she buys from you, but, that
From,
supplement is from yeah, okay.
yeah, she buys
But
from,
mhm.
which is a Wisconsin um, based company, fifth generation, never had a recall.
Wow.
These,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's great. Yeah,
they have
very good.
impeccable integrity. And those are the kinds of partnerships that we look for. Even, I have Jamie Lewis, who is here in Georgetown, and she makes my adorable little collar buds. And,
Uh-huh.
we give a portion of every collar bud that we sell to the shelter. And, I love that, she's a customer and a friend of mine, and she's contributing in that
Mhm,
way. And, the Terry, who's out of Round Rock, who works for me
mhm.
part time, she makes the bandanas and the slings. And
Oh, yeah.
so we have the local, we've hyper local in
Mhm,
Austin area, Texas connection, but in
mhm.
USA.
Yeah, okay. Well, you also do some other stuff. You mentioned
Oh,
earlier that you had a wedding recently at your which is kind of unexpected, kind of different, but, little Eli got, I guess there was an engagement. I don't know if there was a party, but I know there was a wedding.
there
Are
was.
you are you, well, kinda tell me about have been wondering what started that idea? What brought that
So
on?
this has been kind of a couple of years in the making, but I
Okay.
didn't have a home base. I was a pop up for
Mhm.
3 years,
Yeah.
and so I got my start at Georgetown Market Days,
Mhm.
and I look forward to that every second Saturday. I've
Mhm.
missed it with the new season being, closed to the coronavirus, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping we can go back out in June. But last year when we opened, I had a home base. And, prior to that, my friend Amberly Ward, she um, has a dachshund. She has a dachshund mix, and we have a dachshund mix. Hers is
Uh-huh.
5 pounds, mine's like 30 pounds. But she had a wedding dress, and she said, yeah, and they're both black and tan. So
Uh-huh.
they're
Okay.
super cute. They have little matching love hoodies. It's
Oh.
love and, metallic little beads on the back.
Mhm.
But she said we should marry them. It would be a lot of fun.
That's
And so
funny.
I wanted to do it, but not having a home base and also not having a purpose. I'm very
Mhm.
purpose driven,
Mhm.
which you know that about me too from the
Yeah.
first time we met.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
so I couldn't just have a wedding just to have a wedding.
Right.
So if I was patient, the time would come. And
Mhm.
February 8th, we did it. And what spurred that on, why it was the right time,
Mhm.
is Diamond Dachshund Rescue of Texas
Okay.
reached out to us before Christmas and asked if they could do a rescue event at our shop.
Okay. Very good.
So, we do that with the Georgetown Animal Shelter the first Saturday of every month.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is the time. This is perfect. We'll
Yeah.
have dachshunds getting married at the Dachshund Rescue adoption event. And so it became more than about
Mhm.
just our dogs getting married.
Yeah.
And so we invited our friends at the Georgetown Animal Shelter to join the Dachshund Rescue.
Mhm.
And then I turned to my Georgetown Ladies Night Out, my networking group, and I said, "Hey guys, we're gonna do a dachshund wedding. It's to
Mhm.
benefit the Georgetown Animal Shelter and Diamond Dachshund Rescue of Texas.
Mhm.
Uh, how about you guys come? What if you want to contribute?" And oh my gosh, they were amazing. We
Mhm.
had a mobile DJ that played music.
Yeah.
Did you attend? I don't remember everybody that attended.
I did not get to go, no,
It,
but I know it's a great network
it,
of,
yeah,
people. Yeah.
it is. So Groove Line provided the music. Leah Sanders with the River City Baker. She had a two-tier wedding cake,
Oh
and
my
it had
gosh.
ceramic dachshunds on top. And then we had the cake that I sell in the store, the
Mhm.
puppy cake. We had
Mhm.
that for the dogs, the guests.
Okay.
And I mean, we had Nulo there, Farmina,
Mhm.
Pupsicool out of Austin came
Wow.
and joined the
Huh.
fun. And the person who made my shirt here, my I woof you so
I'm
much, like
with you.
our fence at this
Uh-huh.
shop. She's Black and Blue Company out of South Austin. She was
Okay.
there. I know I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I think it's just a sense of community.
Mhm.
in the shop and then in the events that we do and
Mhm.
giving back.
Yeah.
And I love it. It is so fulfilling.
Yeah,
And
that's you're not
it
even going to work when you go to work. You're just
no, I may be
going to
tired,
hang out.
it's kind of a good tired.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, because
Yeah.
you do give so much, not just knowledge, but you're caring and your heart is in it. And that's, I know that's why you do events like this, like, the marriage. Yeah, that's a fun and cute idea, but for sure, I mean, having a purpose and, there have always been so many animals at the animal shelter that just, you know, wh- I think it really does it doesn't just take a village for our kids. It's
Yeah.
also for our furry friends. You know, the shelters just always need volunteers. They need people
Yeah.
to adopt and anything that I think someone in the community like yourself can do is just, that's so beneficial. Um, do you have another wedding or any type of event coming up?
As far as the two dachshunds go, we're thinking we've already thought about next year. It's like, is it a baby shower? And do we maybe we collect items that are on their wish list as like baby gifts?
Okay.
Give that to the shelter.
I
Um,
love that. That's great. Yeah.
so we're talking about that, but it
Mhm,
really depends on what's going to happen in the state, and
mhm,
with them opening things back up. And
mhm.
we've opened the shop to foot traffic, which it was never closed. We did go to by appointment only for
Okay.
everyone's safety and comfort.
Mhm.
But now that they've lifted restrictions, people are welcome in. We just ask that they observe the 6 foot social distancing
Sure. Mhm.
protocol, and we do prefer masks to be worn. We wear
Mhm.
them in the shop
Okay.
uh, when there are people by us, and we are wiping down things with Lysol and Clorox constantly.
Constantly, yeah. Yeah.
The pen pad, and that's something I've noticed when I'm out in the community. Nobody wipes down the pen pad, and I'm like, dudes, we've gone through two already because we've ruined them from wiping them down so much.
Seriously? Oh my gosh, wow.
Not kidding.
Well, yeah, that is probably one of the dirtiest places in any
Oh,
store, I would
yeah.
think.
So take a Ziploc baggie and put it on.
Yeah, no. I carry a
uh,
wipe around my hand a lot of times when I go to the
yeah,
store, just so I can wipe stuff down.
yeah,
That's
that's smart. I think it was Kay Briggs at Pink Poppy. She was saying, no gloves in the store, and I agree with her. I see people wearing gloves and not taking them off, and so
mhm,
everything that they touch, while their hands are protected, the people outside of you are not every time you touch something with those gloves.
mhm.
So we don't want gloves. We prefer masks, but come on in. And it's been so nice to see people coming back out. We've
Yeah.
we've had, foot traffic has increased, but
Mhm,
getting the word out that we're open and that we have our online store for,
mhm.
food and treats, and we're doing home delivery, we're doing curbside,
Yeah.
pickup, which
Mhm,
um, that's been difficult to get the word out. We've engaged with the local papers,
mhm,
and really I'm on social media,
mhm,
and our signs across on the street on Williams. But
mhm.
if people don't get out, they don't see your signs.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we're still working on getting the word out.
Mhm. So I took advantage of curbside, and I probably will the next time,
Yeah.
which means I'll see you in the next week because I need to come get
Yeah.
food. But
Put it.
yeah, the curbside worked really well. I mean, it was so easy, and I just pulled up and I went to the door and just waved. Of course, by now you guys know my face, and so you know.
Yes.
But at the same time, what one thing that I did appreciate is that I had been messaging you through Facebook to let you know one of the issues that we're dealing with our little mini Aussie that we have, and you made a recommendation, and then I called the store, and Kelsey, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kelsey, she made a recommendation for a product that you had in the store, and it was like wipes to
Hmm.
clean the pollen off of the dog after he goes outside,
Right.
and so I said, I think I'm just gonna try, a homemade thing like apple cider vinegar. And she was like, oh yeah, and then that makes the dog smell like apple cider. And I was like, yeah. So that's like that's what you were saying earlier is that if you have a solution in
Yeah.
the store, you'll give that as an option. But I know that all of you have a whole lot of other ideas or, know that there are other solutions. And, I think anyone can feel free to, come to you and say, well, have you ever used this? And you may or may not have, and you would just give honest advice. And I think that's something that's so, you know, it doesn't always happen. A lot of times people are just trying to sell you
Yeah.
constantly, and I don't feel that way when I go to your store. So
Good.
that's
I'm
that's a good thing.
glad.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Because that happened to me and my husband time and time and time again.
Hmm.
And I got emotional in an interview with the community impact, and they asked me my why, and it
Yeah.
went back to my pets, as I mentioned earlier. But
Hmm.
I thought I was doing right by them because of the advice that I would get at the
Yeah.
store that I was choosing
Yeah.
to give my money to. And
Hmm.
come to find out, it was the call sheet for the week and what they were supposed to push, which
Really?
benefits
Oh gosh.
shareholders, doesn't, benefit my
Hmm.
pet. But, it had, so I have very strong emotional ties to what I do.
Yeah.
And I believe that in the independent pet retail space,
Hmm.
other small retail, I think that, you'll find more people that, than not, that
Yeah.
have the, mission.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. For sure.
we want happy, healthy pets. And how do you do that? Well,
Hmm.
you procure everything, in your store by starting with research and then
Hmm.
trying it out and getting
Hmm.
feedback and seeing if it, if is it what it says it is. And,
Right.
we scrutinize and we get a lot of people. I get people in, trying to sell me things every week, every other week.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say no so that
Yeah.
you don't come into my store and take it home.
Right. Yeah.
You
That's
know,
great. Very good. Well, I thank you so much again. And for anyone who's watching who doesn't know where Popology is located, I guess once the market days starts back up again, you'll be there on the square once a month,
second
and
Saturday.
then yeah, and then you're on Williams Drive. It's 4230 Williams Drive, Suite A. If you've ever driven down Williams Drive, almost to heading towards Sun City out west, you'll notice bicycles, white bicycles along the road. Isn't that what it is? It's white bicycles,
White and pink, yeah.
white and
It's
pink.
it's a light blue house with white and
Yeah.
pink bicycles out front.
And
And
it says Popology on it.
there's Popology down the chimney and a fence that says "I woof you so much" for pictures, and it's
Mhm.
across from Catfish Parlor,
Okay, right across from Catfish Parlor.
another local small business.
Yeah.
I've mentioned a lot in this interview, and
Mhm.
I think, not just in the store is it a sense of community, but it's getting out and like you do, you support your neighbors. It really is about supporting, neighbors and who you do life with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've my both my parents were business owners,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom had retail on the square in Georgetown. That's what,
Oh, yeah.
brought us all here. That was a long time ago. And of course I have my own small business,
Yep.
and I have some of my kids have their own businesses that they operate, and I think that I go to big box stores all the time too, but at
Yeah.
the same time I always want to support my people who are working so hard, that are near me, like you said, neighbors and
Mm-hmm.
friends and stuff. So
Balance.
that's why I'm doing this. I'm gonna
It's amazing what you're doing, and I'm
Yeah,
so appreciative
good.
of what you're doing and the fact that you invited me on. So it was a lot, and I
Well, I haven't, and also I haven't seen you in at least 2 months, so had to figure out a way to.
you
So
came for curbside. It hasn't
yeah,
been
I know.
that long. Your
Yeah, but
dog
you were wearing a mask. I couldn't see you smile, so needed to have a little FaceTime here.
gotcha.
um, One other question. This is a little random, but when I did come for curbside,
Mhm.
there were peacocks in your yard.
Yes,
What's that about? Those are not yours, are they?
they're not,
Yeah.
but they are beautiful. Oh my God.
Hmm.
So they are the resident peacocks.
Hmm.
They are the two that are left from what used to be, I don't know if you call a you have a gaggle of geese, but I don't know. You call it a herd of peacocks? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
But there used to be more, but they belonged to the landlord, the property owner, and
Wow.
she rescued them is the story that I've been told. And
Okay.
they have a very specific pattern.
Uh-huh.
They live life pretty much in a 360-degree circle, and they go
Wow.
east and they go west in a circle, and they're creatures of habit, uh,
Wow.
and just beautiful. Yeah. And
Mhm.
yes, they're quite a surprise to many people there.
Yeah, I had never seen them before, and I've been around peacocks before, like in a old neighborhood where we lived. One of our neighbors had them, but
Neat.
I just looked up and one of them had just fanned, and I was like, "Oh, hello there." So that's a nice little neighbor to have, I guess.
Yes, yeah, there
Okay.
are. And yeah, he was warning you.
Yeah, I
And
know. Stay away.
they're both males.
Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah, they're so pretty.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for clearing up that mystery for me. Um, but
Thank
I will
you.
see you in the next week.
Okay.
And if anyone has any questions, you can post in the comments once we get this up on Facebook, and feel free to share it with whomever you want to. I know there's a huge gap of technical difficulties that no one wants to see, but oh well, such
We'll
is
put
life.
comments too. We'll just say fast forward from 7 minutes to 15.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it wasn't 8 minutes long, but whatever. I'll
No.
double check. I'll put the timestamp in there for sure. Okay.
Okay.
Well, it was good to see you. Thank you so much for everything you do for our community because you are a real important part of who we are here in Georgetown.
Thank you.
And I hope you
Happy.
yeah, have a good day. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.